1960, a TV film about the life of Marcel Legay. And for the person who knows, the character of Marcel Legay is played by Jean-Roger Cossimon. Jean-Roger Cossimon has a complete look of Marcel Legay, but 1 century after. In the beginning of my presentation, I used some paper in order to never forget some important thing. And just, my name is Yves Bertrand from Montpellier in the south of France. And what I want to say is that I ask you to apologize the low level of my spoken English, and it's for the understanding it's worse. And this is aggravated by my hearing difficulty that may oblige me to wear this type of hearing aids. So this is to say, I don't want any question during my presentation, because I'm afraid I have made a lot of rehearsal in order to try to improve my English. And now I feel something like a robot, just pre-programmed to begin with the end of the talk and finish at the end of the talk without any interruption. So if you don't respect that, you risk big. I will be obliged to start from the very beginning again. So just keep your question for the end, and they will be translated me. So in my working life, I was a professor, she said, in art, not really, in physics and microelectronics. So you have the choice either on Cabaret Artistique or on physics or microelectronics. What do you prefer? Cabaret. Cabaret, okay. In fact, I forget more or less my basis in physics and microelectronics. Because, no, first I want to thank Claudia and the whole Chicago team to permit me to have this talk today, and also for having this amazing and very extraordinary idea to organize this one-week Connexion. So thank you, Claudia, for this opportunity. The presentation, I have to, I know, I was sure that I forgot something. When I was a child, no, I missed my tooth. After, you know, after what I do, what I did when I was a child. After, just here I want just to say that my idea is to speak about, you see, Cabarets Artistiques of the Belle Epoque, and illustrated by some songs in the repertoire of the Cabarets Artistiques, and essentially Marcel Legay and Recital. And the song will be sung by, as you see here, Elizabeth Doyle, Claudia Hommel from Chicago, but also Mylène Launay, Françoise Miran, and Maryline Rollet from France. And now, the second one. So, this guy here, on the left, this is my great uncle, the singer and composer Marcel Legay, the first chansonnier of the golden age of the Cabarets Artistiques during the Belle Epoque. And when I was a child, my mother used to sing the song of her uncle, and of course, when I retired, this is a classical behavior, I think, I felt the need of knowing this great uncle better. And so I created the site about Marcel Legay. I've written a book, available here with also a CD. And I traveled through France to make some musical presentation in order to promote the large essential work of Marcel Legay. But in fact, the only academic work I found of Marcel Legay is not a French work. This is a work of the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, written by the musicologist and researcher Maryline in 1994, and no equivalent academic work exists in France. And this because I have this PhD that I have the idea to develop all this knowledge about Marcel Legay in France. Okay, the presentation will aim to give a rapid review of what was the Belle Epoque and how it allowed the development, the advent of the Cabaret Artistique, and this through Marcel Legay and his singing chansonnier and friends as Aristide Bruand. Just to locate, perhaps I mean, yeah, just to locate in the historical context, first we can see that the Belle Epoque and the era of Cabaret Artistique completely overlap. This is the main period. And also another important point is that we are in between two wars between France and Germany. For the first, the name was Prussia, but it was two wars between France and Germany. So this is the reason why we are glad to have Europe now and no more this war. And so when at the end of this war, the empire fall, and Napoleon III is defeated, and there are a very short period. It will be tough on me. Okay. And at the end of the empire, there are a very short revolutionary period known in the history of France as a commune. And during this, at the end of this commune, when we defeated, in fact, the so-called communards have been so either executed or exiled. And this is, for example, this is a case, for example, of the poet of the commune, Jean-Baptiste Clément, with this famous song, Le Temps des Cerises. Here is the text, and we can have a little piece of Yves Bertrand, Le Temps des Cerises. Just a piece with a beautiful voice of Yves Bertrand. Now, this one, yep. So after the Commune, we are in the Republic is restored. This is the Third Republic. And what I want to explain with this slide is that there are a big number of major technological projects during this period. The Statue of the Liberty is created in Paris and transported in New York. You have the creation, the building, the construction of the Tour Eiffel, and also the first metro after Chicago. It was not, it was the third in the world after London, I miss one, and Chicago and Paris. And also the construction, the building of the Basilica of Sacré-Cœur in Paris. For each, I have some thing like this, but I don't show for all Europe's in order to have time for the rest of my talk. This is, for example, the construction of the Statue of the Liberty. Also Eiffel Tower, also Basilica Sacré-Cœur. Oh. Here, I want to explain that in the history of civilization, the Belle Epoque is an incredible era. In just one generation, we have a lot of new things that arrive in all domains. And in the technological revolution is very important. In my opinion, more important than the numerical revolution of today. And here, the photography existed before, but developed a lot during this period. And all inventions are of this time. The telephone of Graham Bell, the phonograph of Edison in the USA, Charles Cros in France, the possibility to have electricity, water, and gas in all flats, the new medicines, and the three major invention and development of automobile, aviation, and cinema. This is a lot of things that interfere with the everyday life of the people. And this, you have to keep that in mind. This is important for the evolution of the society and, of course, the song also. In the domain of art also, and especially in the painting field, it's completely amazing. We pass in only one generation from the golden age of Impressionism with, for example, there is a lot of other Monet, Renoir, to a big turn in the painting with Demoiselle d'Avignon of Picasso, for example, in just one generation. And that passing through nothing that only Van Gogh, Gauguin, Cézanne, and other also, number also painted. And in this field, the Butte Montmartre is at the avant-garde of this phenomenon. For example, here, Le Bal du Moulin de la Galette by Renoir was painted when Renoir lived not far from the Lapin Agile, in the house where which hosts now the Musée de Montmartre. So it was painted in this place. This is for the Impressionism, and the same for the major turn in the history of the mondial painting, that is Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, painted in the Bateau Lavoir, not far from the Lapin Agile, Place du Théâtre, and so on. So you have these two major artwork in a relatively short time, very different. No link between the two, of course, no direct link. just here to indicate how the life of the, I show the 7 emblematic painters, there are others of course, how the lives overlap more or less the time of the Belle Epoque and Cabarets Artistiques. And almost all of these painters attended the Cabarets Artistiques. And for example, Picasso. This is a painting, a self-portrait of Picasso in Harlequin, and the name of this painting is Au Lapin Gilles. And in the background, you can see the owner of the Lapin Gilles, Frédé. And this painting was sold for a paltry sum by Frédé indeed, and then sold with another price after, and now this painting is at the Metropolitan Museum in New York. This is a beautiful painting. Oh, not this one. I have to move my cursor, in the music field, it is the same thing. You have a big revolution passing from the Carmen of Georges Bizet. Carmen of Georges Bizet was already scandalous. A woman decided herself how to manage his love life. Scandalous at this time. And at the other end, we have another scandal. It was the Sacre du Printemps, with a completely new music and choreography that made a near riot in the audience. And these two major works, in between, we can find other very innovative musicians, Eric Satie, Gabriel Fauré, Claude Debussy, and Maurice Ravel. Not a lot of big names in terms of compositor. Also, the way their life recovers this period. And to finish, just a list of various famous names of this time in the field of sculpture, literature, poetry, celebrities in general, including Loie Fuller from Chicago, a dancer. We saw a painting, a drawing of her at the Arctic last Tuesday. And also in the domain of science, including the theory of relativity by Einstein. So I'm not here trying to explain how the songs of Marcel Legay are influenced by the theory of relativity. Of course, it was completely different field. But what I want to indicate is the huge amplitude of the real tsunami that came on the people at this time in terms of art, science, politics, syndicalism. I don't know the terms in English, syndicalism. There is a lot of... There is a lot of novelty in this domain also, and just I have shown some of them here, but just to explain that it was a real tsunami at this time, more than the numerical revolution of nowadays, in my opinion. So, some words about the Cabarets Artistiques and Café-Concert. In the history of the French song and of the venues, we can more or less have two channels. The first one is a Café-Concert with a different date indicated. First, Café Chantant In French it was musicos, les musicos, it was the term. And then the Café-Concert of the Belle Epoque. The name of the people was Teresa Paulin, the big name of the Café-Concert. That became more or less musical, showbiz, and what we can call nowadays the entertainment industry. In that channel, this channel, the main aim of the manager of the issue is what? To make money. Perhaps in the expense of the quality of art, maybe yes, maybe no, but make money. In the second one, more intellectual, more artistic, we start with a café littéraire and a caveau, goguette, something of some singing society in Cabaret. The name of this type of Cabarets Artistiques was Desaugiers and Béranger. And that became the Cabarets Artistiques with Legay, Bruant, Delmé, and so on. And the Cabaret Rive Gauche in France, and Saint-Germain-des-Prés, Contrescarpe. And then now, what we can call the venues of proximity, but we have no generic terms in France. Cabaret is not a good term, so we try to use venues of proximity, just like today, with just one instrument, a performer, and a reduced audience. And here, of course, artistic quality is of main importance. So the difference between first with a Café-Concert, the name was also Caf-Cons. In fact, this is first a show. The visual effect is essential. In general, we have large venues, luxurious architecture and decoration, and often an orchestra, very often women with only few clothes, of course. And the Caf-Cons programming is varied with song, pantomimes, I don't know, pantomimes, tableau vivant, performing dog, and etc. The laughter is important, and it is interesting to see the Café-Concert, Caf-Cons, as a continuation of the transgressive side of the traditional carnival, popular carnival, with impertinent song, drunkard song, but also scatologic song, history of enemas, charming, and also fartist. I don't know if the term is good. In France, it's a pétomane. A pétomane, I found fartist, the person will make noise with and so on. Okay, you understand. You see, Caf-Cons is not always very refined. It's different with Cabaret Artistique, often a small venue with just a piano, no big show, no nude women. Authors or composers perform their work themselves, and this is relatively new in the history of the song. Also, the quality of writing became more and more important, often close to the literature. And now the song makes sense, and the themes are very varied: poetry, love song, nostalgia, political, social, red song, anarchic song, patriotic song, and so on. But in general, the main difference is that the cabaret rejects the rude comical effect of the Caf-Cons, salacity, scatology, drunkard song. But it develops new comical effect based on puns, double meanings, etc. I'm not sure that it is not the same things, no? Puns and no? So it's two different terms. The previous one. to puns and double meanings. More or less the same thing, no? No? It's different? Okay. My Google Translator was good. Yes. The Cabaret Artistique aims to develop a kind of culture of insolence. This is important. Insolence towards the power and the dominant thinking. This insolent attitude is shared by a whole range of political opinion. We have anarchic text. I let you read the name of the person, but also social songs, red song, revolutionary songs, and also well-meaning and patriotic songs. The cabaret parodies the art and the culture of the elite, poetic current, philosophy, science, and new techniques, and what you have already seen last Sunday, this beautiful painting by Boronali, Sunset over the Adriatic, remember on Sunday? No? By a painter from Genova. And the art critic Roland Dorgelès say very seriously, this artwork is the first of a new excessivism movement. In fact, this is an artistic hoax, because Boronali is just the anagram of Ali Boron. And Ali Boron is the other name of Lolo. Lolo is a donkey of Fredé, and Fredé is the eccentric owner of the Lapin Agile. And here we can see Roland Dorgelès, that say the painting is excessivism and so on, moving some vegetables before the nose of the donkey in order to make his tail to twitch and make this painting. This was a fantastic hoax of this time. So, just the rapid presentation of 6 emblematic cabarets. Cabaret, excuse me, you are not in Germany. Oh. The first one, in fact, this is not a cabaret, this is a Club des Hydropathes, but all the spirit of the Cabaret Artistique are in this Club des Hydropathes, invented by Émile Goudot. Very rapidly, the hydropath, the one that the water makes sick. And the man who created that, his name is Goudot. Goudot is something like test of water. Goudot. So this is typical of the humor of this time. So this was the ancestor of the Cabaret Artistique. But the real first cabaret is, of course, the Chat Noir, with here his creator, Rodolphe Salis, and the signs, the first, the original one, of Villette, and the second one of Steinlein. You know, it is impossible to travel in Paris without seeing the cut of Steinlein 100 times. It is very frequently represented. So just to give a rapid review, Lapin Agile. The Lapin Agile is interesting because he's still alive. And he started, in fact, before the Cabaret Artistique. And his name was The Murders, The Assassins, My Country, more public. And the Lapin Agile, it was a rabbit painted by the painter Gilles. The rabbit, Gilles, name becomes a clever rabbit, the Lapin Agile. Okay. And here, is a postcard of the very beginning of the century, where you can see, it's not easy for you, but here we have Legay, another chansonnier, this time Coutet, and the owner, with his cello, the owner of the Lapin Gilles, Frédé. Here is the same, but this is a drawing, of course. But this is interesting. Again, we have Legay here, Frédé here, Aristide Bruand here, but also two French writers, Francis Carco here, and Pierre Macorlan here. And unfortunately, you have also a painter here. This painter is laid on the ground with a glass. This was a classic attitude of Utrillo. So Utrillo made magnificent painting, but it was often drunk. This is represented here. And now this is a view of nowadays the Lapin Gilles. And I'm very proud to have organized in the year of the centenary of the death of Marcel Legay, to have gathered all my families, this number of persons, almost 80 persons, coming from different countries in the world, that came just for this event, and we have all these people, almost, of my age, and also young people, almost all people. We have sung 24 songs of Marcel Legay. And it was... comment je t'ai demandé tout à l'heure qu'il fallait dire? J'étais ému, comment il faut dire? Je t'ai demandé comment on dit quand on dit j'ai été ému. Ah ouais, emotional. A lot of emotional feeling, of course. And just in front of the Lapin Gilles, we have a wall. This is a wall of a charming cemetery named the Saint-Vincent Cemetery. And Marcel Legay has his grave in this cemetery. So I think, and I'm sure, that Marcel Legay heard us and appreciate our homage on this time. Here, just to see a painting of a friend of a lot of French people here, of Christian Stala, a person of a set in the south of France, that are represented, my great uncle, behind, in front of the Cabaret des Quatre Arts. This painting is very important for me because it is a very, it seems it is a very fine painting, but it was sold in auction, this is a term, for years. I don't remember one, but it was il y a quelques années, I don't remember, and it was now in the United States in a private collection. So if you have information of where is this painting, I will be interested. I think this is a painting of this dimensions. I'm not sure of the color or not. This is just a view that I found on the web. I'm not sure of the quality. And then I finish with the Trianon. In fact, the Trianon was not a cabaret artistique, but was a Café-Concert. But they organized one season with all the chansonniers of the Cabarets Artistiques, and under the direct direction of Marcel Legay, that is in the full center of this picture. just to end, you have the opportunity to see this poster in the Musée de Montmartre last year. So, some word about the chansonnier, just after we have the first songs of this talk. And I skip for the time Marcel Legay and Recital, where I have a zoom on them in a few minutes. And just rapidly, we pass the first four of this chansonnier to indicate some information about this song. The first one was Paul Delmé with the song.
Ah, tout attendre dans la rue, j'ai lancé deux petits pavés sur tes carreaux que j'ai crevés, mais tu ne m'es pas apparu.
This is by Serge Gainsbourg.
Tu te moques de tout, je crois.
Not very
Tu te moques
easy to find.
Demain, je t'en lancerai trois.
Oh. Also, Yves Bertrand, those who was in the in the museum on Tuesday, you have seen this drawing of Yves Bertrand. Just to be very rapid, I give you an idea. It was nicknamed the diseuse fin de siècle. So, fin de siècle is clear, but the diseuse is a way to speak more or less the song. And just and the second one. L'addiction. And the last one, because I split the two after, is Eugénie Buffet. And Eugénie Buffet's Cabaret was named La Purée, much potatoes, something like that. And our most important song was interpreted by Edith Piaf. Just to give you an idea. Hop, hop, allez toucher. Hop. I don't speak about Botrel and Coutet, no time enough. And I start now with Aristide Bruand. His nickname was the Master of the Street, given by the French writer Anatole France. And now we can came for the first song. His cabaret was Le Mirliton. In fact, the Mirliton was the place of the ex-Chat Noir one. And he made a lot of songs about the district of Paris. And here is a view of for New York, it is an April, perhaps Paris is a potato, in my opinion, more or less potato. And here we have a song of Bruand for each district in Paris. And we will have tonight at Saint-Lazare, Rue Saint-Vincent, and Lilliputian. A very important point is that the voice of Bruand have been recorded on cylinder. So the song, the first, will be Rose Blanche. The other name is Rue Saint-Vincent. And this is one of the most beautiful songs by Aristide Bruand. In fact, a simple story, just the story of Rose, a girl who lives and works on the Butte Montmartre. The young man she loves is in fact a pimp. And when she refuses to prostitute herself, he simply kills her with a knife. In French, d'un coup de surin, lui trou à le ventre. In English, with a blade, pierced her belly. And now, this will be performed by Françoise Miran, and the new Elizabeth Doyle, because I write Elizabeth Doyle, but you have a surprise. She changed a lot. Ooh, Elizabeth Doyle. This is the new Elizabeth Doyle. Yay! Not very sexy, but a good great pianist too. And this is, of course, Jean-Claude Orpoli, but he is well known now.
Je le connais pas. Elle avait, sous sa toque de martre, à la butte Montmartre, un petit air innocent. Elle s'appelait Rose, elle était belle, elle sentait bon la fleur nouvelle. Rue Saint-Vincent, allez on se refuse rien, rue Saint-Vincent. Elle n'avait pas connu son père, elle n'avait plus de mère. Et depuis 1900, elle vivait chez sa vieille aïeule, où qu'elle s'élevait comme ça toute seule. Rue Saint-Vincent, elle travaillait déjà pour vivre, et les soirs de givre, dans le froid noir et glaçant, son petit fichu sur les épaules, elle passait par la rue des Saules, rue Saint-Vincent. Et les soirs, dans les soirs gelés, la nappe étoilée était là caressant, et la lune blanche et fatidique se reflétait sur la basilique, rue Saint-Vincent. Mais un soir de chaud crépuscule a rencontré Jules, qui était si caressant qu'elle restait des nuits entières avec lui près du vieux cimetière, rue Saint-Vincent. Mais le petit Jules, qui était de la tierce, qui soutient la Gerse, alors l'adolescent, voyant qu'elle marchait pas au pentre, d'un coup de surin, lui troua le ventre, rue Saint-Vincent. Quand ils l'ont couchée sous les planches, elle était si blanche qu'en l'ensevelissant, les croque-morts disaient que la pauvre gosse était morte le soir de ses noces, rue Saint-Vincent. Elle avait, sous sa toque de martre, à la butte Montmartre, un petit air innocent. On l'appelait Rose, elle était belle, elle sentait bon la fleur nouvelle, rue Saint-Vincent. Merci la foule.
Thank you. And the second one of Aristide Bruand is Saint-Lazare. I repeat, all these lyrics are available here in French and with a translation in English, verified by eminent Professor Jacques Potin here. He verified my Google traduction.
I'm not responsible.
Of course, it is just, it is not possible to do other poem. This is too complicated. It is just the meaning that is indicated. Saint-Lazare. Saint-Lazare, this is not the place where is Gare Saint-Lazare. This is another place in Paris, and it was a prison hospital for prostitutes. Indeed, a kind of death house. And the song is quite characteristic, the way Bruant paints the prostitution. Here, the girl is prevented by disease, hospital, and internment, prison, to finance a pimp, a poor boy. He will be obliged to work, perhaps. So this is very difficult for him. And we find here the usual slang of Aristide Bruant. Ici, tout le monde est dégagé. Here, everyone is broke. And la braise est rare, money is scarce. And also, we speak about a linvet. A linvet is a piece of money. So, this will be interpreted now by the real Elizabeth Doyle and for the song by Maryline Rollet, in direct from Paris.
C'est la prison que je t'ai créée, mon pauvre Polyte. Hier, je sais pas ce qui m'a pris à la visite. Il y a des maladies qui se voient pas quand ça se déclare. N'empêche qu'aujourd'hui, je suis dans le tas à Saint-Lazare. Et pendant ce temps-là, toi, vieux chien, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire? Je ne peux t'envoyer rien de rien, c'est la misère. Ici, tout le monde est décapé, la braise est rare. Il faut 3 mois pour faire un linvet à Saint-Lazare. Vrai de savoir comme ça sans le sou, je me fais une bille. T'es capable de faire un sale coup, je suis pas tranquille. T'as trop de fierté pour ramasser des bouts de cigares pendant tout le temps que je vais passer à Saint-Lazare. Va t'en trouver la grande nana, dis que je l'ai pris. Casqué pour moi, j'y rendrai ça à ma sortie. Surtout, n'y fais pas de boniment pendant que je marre, pendant que je bois des médicaments à Saint-Lazare. Et puis, mon petit loup, bois pas trop. Tu sais que t'éteignes. Et quand t'as un petit coup de sirop, tu fous la baigne. Si tu te faisais coffrer un soir dans une bagarre, y a plus personne qui viendrait te voir à Saint-Lazare. Je finis ma lettre en t'embrassant. Adieu mon homme, malgré que tu sois pas caressant. Moi, je t'adore comme j'adorais le bon Dieu comme papa quand j'étais petite et que j'allais communier à Sainte Marguerite.
Now, just a few words about Marcel Legay, because I am here to advertise for my great uncle. And he has various nicknames. Le fou sublime, le chauve chevelu, effectively no hair on the top, but long hair. Bald, yeah. Not bald, bald. It's just to see if you don't sleep. You know, professor is never wrong. This is the principle. And the more real, the 1,000 song chansonnier. And in his PhD, Maryline will say that he is the most emblematic of the cabaret singer. In fact, he is nowadays completely forgotten, including in France. And it is difficult to believe that he was very popular at the very beginning of the 20th century as his friends Briand and Delmé, for example. So he made 1,000 songs, and we can find nowadays, either on the web or on the French National Library, 600 of these music scores. And 12 books. He was in a very big number of venues and essentially 100 cabarets and so on. I skipped this point, it will be too long. Just, we have no record of the voice of Marcel Legay. But, I'm very proud of it too. In the archive of Gaumont Pathé, I found a movie about Marcel Legay, and he's singing in a silent movie. So he's just behind the curtain, but we can study the gesture. Christian, look, the gesture of Marcel Legay, the arm largely open. He's a good pupil for you, perhaps too late. And just he finished one song, and then another, and a very classical movement at the end of the song is this one. I'm very proud to have found this archive. It's very rare, but I have no voice. It will be possible to have because I have some recordings of the time where Marcel Legay was living, but not in other singers of the time, but not in. This is just an idea of the books, and I skipped that. Also, a lot of so-called petit format scores. And this point is important because this is the main difference between Legay and Briand. Legay composed popular songs, just as Briand, but in almost all genres, and this is different from Briand. Le Lavis for children, Bluette for midinette, say, soft love song for working girl, song of love and nostalgia, song to dance to, patriotic, cruel, social song, and revolutionary song, the famous Chanson Rouge, known in France. And it was known also in the United States at the very beginning of the 20th century. I found this book, I found on the net, of course, this book by Berkeley Smith, The Real Latin Quarter, with a chapter completely devoted to Marcel Legay. In fact, he shared between Montmartre and Quartier Latin, sometimes in one place, sometimes in the other. And with, I extract a text where he explained that he has a very impressive way to sing, and after each of these songs in the audience, there was first a big silence and then a big applaud. You understand. And almost 1 century later, the work of Maryline Launay, and the name of his PhD is Chansonnier and Chanson in Cabarets Artistiques, but here we have the chapter 5, the career of Marcel Legay, and in fact, Marcel Legay is the illustration all along this book. I don't remember the name for the book of thesis. Il l'a dit, j'ai pas compris, vous avez entendu. Moi je suis sourd. And here in the introduction we can find that he say, audience recognize Marcel Legay chosen as a case study here. So he is all along the thesis. And also some we were with us on Tuesday. We have the presentation of this lithography by Gabriel Ibels at the Art Institute of Chicago. Now, songs of Marcel Legay. The first one is named Le Bleu des Bleuets. This is a pure bucolic poetry delicately written around the name of the flowers, with some beautiful terms. And now, the magic of the symbiosis between text and music, which is a specialty of Marcel Legay, marvelously work. And for example, we will hear that in a few minutes. These three verses may be sung in a manner of a menuet in order to say les bleuets font des menuets, the cornflower dance menuet, and then this will be performed just before the original score, and the most famous of this performer, Georges Brassens, a famous French singer. And now, the Bleu des Bleuets will be performed by Mylène Launay with Elizabeth Doyle. Mylène, Le Bleu des Bleuets.
An intimate comment on dit, ambiance. Hein? Dans la fraise, le collerette, liseront rosée, paquerette, j'aime la myrrhe et le muguet, les lilas et la primavère. Mais la couleur que je préfère, c'est le bleu des bleuets. C'est le bleu des bleuets. Oh, le velours brun des pensées, l'oranger blanc des fiancés, les lourds glaïeuls, le lys fluet. Lors du soleil, mon nez sévère, et la couleur que je préfère, c'est le bleu des bleuets. C'est le bleu des bleuets. Dans les blés blonds pour mamie, avec une grâce endormie, les bleuets font des menuets. Mon amour les prit pour emblème, et c'est mon propre amour que j'aime. Dans le bleu des bleuets. Dans le bleu
le bleu des bleuets.
Je vais interpréter aussi, je suis gâté ce soir, j'ai que des très belles interprétations. La suivante, c'est Sans rien dire, aussi une très très jolie poésie délicate. Je vous ai mis que des chansons soft de Marcel Legay, parce que vous voyez qu'il y en avait des révolutionnaires, il y en avait des cruelles, il y en avait des méchantes. Là, je vous ai mis que des soft pour vous reposer un peu. Mais elle est très très belle celle-là aussi. Elle était chantée magnifiquement par Cora Bocquer, que l'on voit ici. Et on voit la partition originale aussi. En anglais. Ah oui, I am here to speak in English, and I try to speak in English. And excuse me, I have commuted. And now, Sans rien dire will be performed by Elizabeth Doyle.
J'ai pris un bluet flou, éclos parmi l'herbe, et quelqu'un m'a dit, mon Dieu, il n'est pas de bleu, 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 que ce bleu superbe. Moi qui sais ce que je sais, j'ai souri sans lui rien dire, car à tes yeux je pensais, sans rien dire, sans rien dire. Au rosier fleuri, j'ai pris un bouquet de roses, et quelqu'un m'a dit, mon Dieu, plus beau rose ne se peut que ces roses roses. Moi qui sais ce que je sais, j'ai souri sans lui. Moi qui sais ce que je sais, j'ai souri sans lui rien dire. Et ta lèvre, je pensais, sans rien dire, sans rien dire. J'ai pris un pavé trouvé au fond d'un cratère, et quelqu'un m'a dit, mon Dieu, plus dur pavé ne se peut trouver sous la terre. Mais qui sait ce que je sais? J'ai pleuré sans lui rien dire, car à ton cœur je pensais, sans rien dire, sans rien dire.
Superbe interprétation encore une fois. Et donc la suivante, ça va être, alors celle-là c'est la chanson la plus connue de, et c'est relatif, hein, puisqu'il est relativement inconnu maintenant, mais la chanson la plus connue, parce que c'est Pierre qui l'a reprise, c'est la chanson On va danser. Donc c'est écrit par un poète libertaire qui s'appelle... you have text in English, so written by a libertarian poet, Gaston Coutet. This is a real magnificent love song, but a love brutally interrupted by the death of Jean, and Jean, on his deathbed, asked his wife to continue to live and to start a new life. And this is important because this is a libertarian field or feeling of Gaston Coutet. And Valençay has been performed by Edith Piaf, and this, after Edith Piaf, we have a lot of recording of this song. And now, this will be, this is the score and the record of Piaf, and now this is we interpreted or performed, so excuse me, by Claudia, and with always Elizabeth at the piano. We have to say at the piano? At the piano.
Au mois d'août, en touchant le blé, en crevé de soif dans la plaine, le corps je suis allée voir à plat contre la fontaine. Le froid m'a glacé les sangs et je meurs par ce tendre automne où l'on danse devant la table durant les beaux jours finissants. J'entends les violons Marie, oh petite que j'aimais bien. Moi je n'ai plus besoin de rien, va danser à la prairie. J'entends les violons Marie. Veux-tu bien me sécher ces pleurs, les pleurs en laidissent les mains, mais ton joli bonnet à fleurs et ton devantier en dentelle rejoins les jeunesses du bout, au bout où l'amour les enivre, car si je meurs, il te faut vivre, et l'on ne vit pas sans amour. J'entends les violons Marie, va petite que j'aimais bien. Moi je n'ai plus besoin de rien, va t'en lancer à la prairie. J'entends les violons Marie. Entre la ronde gaiement, choisis un beau gars dans la ronde et donne-lui ton cœur clément qui resterait silencieusement. Oui, j'étais jaloux cet été quand un autre t'a laissé, mais on ne comprend bien la vie que sur le point de la quitter. J'entends les violons Marie, va petite que j'aimais bien. Moi je n'ai plus besoin de rien, va t'en danser à la prairie. J'entends les violons Marie. Après ça tu te marieras, et quand la moisson sera haute, avec ton homme au bout de bras, moissonnant un jour côte à côte, vous viendrez peut-être à parler, ému de pitié grave et sobre, de gens qui mourent en octobre, d'un mal pris en fauchant les blés.
Voilà. Et juste avant de... On va finir par une chanson, mais je voudrais juste mettre deux en anglais. Oui, c'est incroyable, hein? On dirait que je suis français par moment. Donc, just before to conclude with a song and a song with you, just two slides about any form of conclusion, and just to make a link between a cabaret artistic and modern song. In fact, I think now that the Belle Epoque is a very moment in the history of the music which the modern song of the 20th century is forged. And the Cabaret Artistique is a place where this song develops. Now, lyrics are more and more elaborate. The melody seeks to illustrate the very spirit of the text. The themes cover all societal concerns, poetry, beauty, feelings, humor, and so on. And the two new facts, songwriters and composers sing their own songs, and for the first time during this period, some songwriters accompany themselves to the piano. And this is, in my opinion, this Belle Epoque and this Cabaret Artistiques have created the chanson à texte of the 20th century. And just, in my opinion, a song is very important, and this popular art is not recognized at its good level in France. And this is not normal, because this is a popular art by excellence, and a song tells stories, but stories about the history, of course, because even in simplest expression, the song is revealing of the political, social, societal, cultural context of its era. And nowadays, what we can call live song continue to develop. I was not at the table ronde, at the round table just before, but I think that we can find some place of proximity nowadays, perhaps not with the name Cabaret, but for example, Printemps du Cabaret in Paris, Chanson Étoile in Sète, and some other, and CPCC, of course, in Chicago, and perhaps elsewhere next year. And just to give this an image of this connection, just the succession of a number, rapidly passed number of singles during the 20th century. And first by the realistic singles, such as Damia, and Piaf, of course, and the Rive Gauche cabaret singer with Cora Bouquer, and then the great period in France where we have a lot of high-level singer-songwriter, Georges Brassens, Jacques Brel, Léo Ferré, Barbara, Charles Aznavour, Serge Gainsbourg. And for the generation after, I retain, for example, two names, especially for the French culture. These are not known in the US, Souchon and Cabrel. And for the new generation that choose one name, that there is other name. What I want to express is that the song of today is just a continuation of that we have created, that they have created during the era of the Cabaret Artistique. Non? Je vais trop passer. Ah! This is a trap. Here. You have to stop. Just one more. This one. Okay. So I have written a book, produced with CD, and a CD to come. And now, because en France tout finit par des chansons, I ask all the singers of this presentation to come on stage for singing the last song. We choose a song by Aristide Bruand. Okay, Mylène, everybody. And this is without a doubt the most popular song by Aristide Bruand. And it's a story of a nicknamed girl, Nini Pochien, something like Skin Dog Nini, who lives in the district of La Bastille, near the canal. A very simple story about the sweetness of her skin, the color of her eyes, her hair, and also the attraction she produces on the boys. But she only loved one guy, Bibi la Crème, Bibi the Cream. And the chorus of the song is well known in France, including the young generation, à la Bastille, on aime bien Nini Pochien. So now this will be sung and performed by all the troops of the troop.
Yeah.